Let's see how well this works. All, and I'm hoping all will go very well. Yes. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Nice.
Good day. Good day. This is the 175th episode of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica Podcast. Frankly speaking, bad word and the rural school bus system are what we are on today. No, they have nothing to do with each other, frankly speaking. Last week, technical issues aside, we were able to hear only from Transport Minister Darrell Vaz on the school bus system. We are hoping in a few minutes to have his opposition counterpart, Mikeal Phillips, who told us during the week that he has a packed schedule this afternoon, but he was going to try to be with us. And so we're still expecting him. In any case, frankly speaking, we have a discussion in which you'll be most interested. Bad word, indecent language, expletives, taboo words, 4 shilling or 40 shilling words. Frankly speaking, controversy about their use has never been far from the surface of debates in Jamaica. Our guest for that segment is attorney Micheal Williams. He's a former journalist and a forthright Jamaican patriot. He's a man who loves to mix it up. So let's get to it. I'm welcoming our regular panelist, Winnie Anderson Brown. And Winnie is a linguistics expert. She's an educator, as most people on this platform know. And she's the one who will taking us through the bad word business. Thank you, our viewers, for joining us, whether now live or later on this same YouTube channel. Those will join us later, where the podcast will be posted. We invite your comments and questions throughout this podcast. You may send them to us by using the procedure outlined at the top of the podcast, or by placing them on the space provided on the channel. Please subscribe to the Frankly Speaking Jamaica YouTube channel. Now, welcome, Micheal Williams. This is, I think, your first shot on this particular program. Welcome to you. And we want to start with Winnie. It's over to you, Winnie. We know you as an educator. And as I say, in a manner of swearing, you know what the bleep you're talking about as a linguistics expert. So go ahead.
I sure do. Thank you, Franklin, and welcome everyone.
And did I say welcome to Micheal Williams? Yes, I did.
Okay. Yes, you did say that.
Yes,
first.
you did. Thank you, Franklin.
Yes, and thank you, everyone. Now, I am going to add to that swear words and curse words. We call them that too. But I want to contextualize this because some people say no word is bad. And I want to refer to Masaru Emoto. This is a Japanese scientist who did an experiment with water where he had the water frozen after different words were said to the water and the effects that the words had on the water. And if you are able to show us that, that's a book, The Hidden Messages in Water. That is a book that it is good to read, especially lawmakers. Yes, and if you see the 2 crystals that are there, these are crystals that are formed. It's 2 of the same ones, that the crystals that are formed when loving words are said, gratitude, that kind of thing. It makes a difference. And you also have the opposite to that. When you have loud, angry lyrics, although music is being played, the loud, angry lyrics, that is what happens. Crystals are not formed. What has that got to do with anything? We started out as over 90% water, yes, and as adults, we are 70% water. And if we die of old age, we are down to 50%. So if water can copy what happens with words that are spoken, it affects us as human beings. We are affected by the words that we hear and the words that we say. Where do these bad words come from? Unfortunately, most of the curse words, swear words, they are about women. And that is a problem. And this cloth, and I'm going to say it in English. I'll say the cloth. A lot of cloth had to be used by women before the days of sanitary pads, and nappies were used for the babies, but every woman bleeds after giving birth. So the cloth that is used as curse word is not only during the menstrual cycle, it's not only that time, but every woman bleeds afterwards. So when I hear those words, I say to them, look, the women used to wash those. They did not advertise it. In this day and age, I say to men and women that when they use those words, I said, women wash them. They don't come on the street and put them on their head and telling everybody about it. So stop it. If a woman
So you are not offended by it when you're not stopping in your tracks, but you're not offended by it.
offended. It's not that I'm offended. I think most people don't know. Most of these younger people, they have no idea why these words are used. So they just use them, except for those who are taught why. So
Winnie,
no woman should use that.
Winnie,
Yes,
I have to Winnie, good afternoon. I have to interrupt you.
go ahead.
Other good evening, other members of the panel. What is the indecent language in England or America or in Europe? Do you know if what word do you use in England and you can be arrested for it? Do you know of that? In
Okay,
America and
Let's
Europe,
see if
what word can you use?
Michael Williams can do that. But she wasn't defending or not defending, Desmond, I know you joined late, but
No,
let
no,
me
but
make
you see,
one statement
no, I
because of
must,
what he said. Let
no,
me make one
I have to,
statement
I have to contest.
because of what you said.
I,
I am going to make one statement, and this is it. Every single language has taboo words, every one of them. And different words mean different things in different countries. So that is all I'm saying right now. Take it away.
no, I am talking. What I am very offended about this thing about charging people for using words.
well,
This
we
is a
haven't got there
color.
yet, Desmond.
No, we're not
Well, we
there.
haven't got
We're
there yet.
dealing with history.
We
No,
haven't
we're
got
Okay,
not
there
I have
there.
yet.
always. By the way, it was not taught in school that
Right.
these words come from. I learned this on my own. There's a book that used to be on the reading list when I entered high school. Franklin went to high school before me, I presume, and therefore
Yes.
children of Sisyphus might have been on his reading list. The book was removed from the reading list, unfortunately, when I entered high school in 1979 because the book set in the dongle had words to it. It's the mother or the mother of a brothel speaking to one of the prostitutes. And she said, if you ever make no police come inside here this evening, you say, God blind me if you wouldn't make me dig. God blind me if I wouldn't dig out your bumbo hole. Now,
Yes.
that book was removed from the reading list because of one word that was found to be offensive. Now, there are times when I use Peter Tosh or Bumbleclot
Mhm.
because those words, as he said, one night an evil spirit held I down. I could not make a single sound until Jason used the words, and now I'm free as a bird. That is not to say that we must put context and understand that every word can have a meaning and that there's a time and place for everything. So and to answer Desmond's question, I am quite offended that Jamaicans are still being arrested for what are used to be loud and calumnious language. As a matter of fact, in your parish of St. Thomas, Franklin, I had the privilege of representing one of Jamaica's stalwart citizens and a son of the soil in St. Thomas, who was charged for using loud and calumnious language. And the word he used was piss.
Okay.
The matter was dismissed against him when I found in Ecclesiastes.
Yes.
A chapter said, aren't you the men who piss on these walls? And Rabshakeh said unto him, aren't you the men who piss on these walls? But before I read it to the constable, I asked him if he would accept words in the Bible as being normal. He said yes. Then I said to him, would you consider the Bible to use loud and calumnious language? And he said no. And I said to him, what if I should tell you that the word used by my client is found in the Bible? He said it's impossible.
Of course,
I
he doesn't know his Bible.
pulled
He doesn't know
the
his
King
Bible.
James Version and handed him the chapter and underlined portion and asked him to read it and asked him if he now agrees that that word could not be loud or calumnious because it's in the Bible, and he accepted. My client walked. Now, these charges are levied against people of a particular social and economic background.
We're coming there.
Well,
I just want
I really want to go back there. I want to go.
to get back on track, Winnie.
I want to go back there because he mentioned
Winnie,
that
sorry,
word.
just give me a second. Just
Yeah,
before you
sure.
go back there, I just want to point out that there is also a discussion going on among our viewers. There are many focus on at the moment on transport, the rural bus service, and I want to tell them that we're still expecting to get Mikeal Phillips, and also get back to that. But you go ahead, Winnie, please. You go ahead.
Yes. Where Michael went a while ago, if you can look, a boy is described as he that pisseth against the wall. So that is how you know that it's a male. So you can go to the Bible. So because he went to the Bible, I will go there. It was not permitted for women to be among others when they were having their menstrual cycle or when after giving birth. So that whole idea of women, this is all about women. The way the law frames it, I am not going there. All I'm saying is that I will never endorse the use of these words because it refers to women and what is natural to women, the natural processes. Some of them, and Michael may be better able to speak to the F for you unlawful, C for carnal, K knowledge, that charge in England. You may be better able to refer to that.
But before you all give us all
Yes.
of these fantastic contexts, Winnie and Desmond, in a way, people are offended. There are people who are offended by the use of those words, deeply
Yes.
offended, whether it is you see it in the Bible, one reference or the other, or how Michael speaks. People are offended. Are you
Franklin,
saying
Let me
that the
go
Franklin,
back to
doesn't matter?
hold on,
That the
let me
offense
go
hold
back
doesn't
on,
to
matter
that.
because it has context,
hold on,
it has
hold a second.
historical context?
yes.
Franklin, people are offended
Go
by the
ahead,
use
my
of
brother.
English words, you know. Do you know that
Sorry?
people are offended by the use of English words too? Do you know
Of
that?
course. Of course.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Of course.
listen, this thing about locking up people for bad word is a colonial legacy. What word do you call bad? What word? And
Any
no,
word that
no
any
word is
words that
no,
degrades or
no.
defame human beings is bad.
You are expressing yourself, and you use words to express yourself. So if you are in an heated discussion, if you're in a quarrel, if you want to say something. In other
Or
words,
express your
you're in
displeasure.
a you're in a heated discussion and you use words. What about we're thinking about
And that
incentives?
heated, and that
Hold
You're
on.
heated
taking no,
discussion, and that heated
you're
Let,
taking it in
discussion,
a different direction. No,
and
that
that
we're not
heated
there
that
yet.
is
discussion, Desmond,
that is
and
We're
that
not
heated
there
that is the
yet.
discussion might
direction.
get worse.
That is
No,
Desmond,
you're
you
that is
just
the
know,
there. We're
direction.
not there yet. We are not
One
there
of your
yet.
That is
And
no,
comments,
we are
to
there.
Michael,
No,
Desmond,
no,
hold on,
we are
Franklin,
we're not
there.
there
Desmond,
yet.
Desmond,
No,
Desmond,
we're
hold on,
not.
man. Desmond, we'll
We
come
are
some
there.
order, you know.
We're
Desmond,
not
No,
there
but
we'll
I
yet.
come
said
some order. Desmond,
hold
because
on there. Franklin, one of your commentators sent
hold
me a
on,
message to say that because it is in the Bible, context
yeah,
matters. What the
exactly. Carlene
commentator
Smith, one
doesn't
of our
realize.
what Carlene Smith, one of our viewers says that because it's in
Yes,
the Bible. He
and
said
I
the
would
Bible
like to
was not
respond to it.
written in the time, Mr. Williams. Go ahead.
I would like to respond. I like people, you see, who when they use the Bible, they use it to tell me that everything in it is the eternal, inspired word of God. But when I use it to defend my client and draw it, show that it is used and that it is not considered to be loud and calumnious when it's in the Bible. But when my client says, piss off, it is said to be loud and calumnious language, that you can't have it both ways. That is a double standard. There is no context need to be given. When Rob Shaken can say, aren't you not the men who piss against these walls?
we
My
are
client,
we are so, Michael, we are
yes,
socialized to believe and accept everything England handed down to us. So the
true.
way always speak, we are speaking because it was handed down to us by England and we follow it. And that is happening right now. Most of the laws, they have all right. Look at the
Desmond,
laws
don't
that
take
we have
us
in
wide.
Jamaica.
Desmond, don't take us wide. I want you to tell me if people are offended by this
People
action.
are offended by the use of the language. Let's get that out of the way. Some people are. But
But
None about
I
me.
don't
people
know.
are
I
also
don't know why.
offended by English
I don't know.
words. I
I
tell a
don't know
man
why
call a
Frank.
man a moron. If I
I don't
call a
know.
man a moron, he's
Yeah.
going to be offended if he knows what the word moron means.
But it's not
If I don't,
necessarily, is it not necessarily if you call him, he's in the public space, the person is in the public space, and he
and
hears
I
the
say,
use of
you
this
look a
language.
moron, he will be offended.
Yes.
But I don't know. I don't know why Franklin is talking. Is holding on to whether you're offended. Of course, people are offended with the use of words. And those words that we are describing as bad words. Remember, they are used in a context. And another thing we must remember, in Jamaica, as we speak, every day in my environment, I hear people using these words in ordinary conversations. They are not quarreling,
The
but
words
these
have
are the
evolved.
words that they are using to converse,
The
right?
words have evolved.
Yes,
All
I
right.
The
don't
words
know.
have evolved.
Winnie, we're coming back to you, and let's say good afternoon, Ruby and Forbes. Go ahead, Winnie, we're back to you.
Now, before I go to Winnie, I want people to understand that not everything that started a particular way keeps its original meaning. Let me give you one. During the time of the Inquisition in the Iberian Peninsula, pork, dried pork, sun-dried pork was given to you while dining as a delicacy, but it had a more nefarious intent. The intent was to flush out the Jews among them. And if you presented pork to a practicing Jew, he or she would not partake. And that is the way they use at times to identify. Now that nefarious practice, what was nefarious then continues in certain parts of Spain up until today, but it no longer has that nefarious intent. It is used as a welcome to somebody to your home. So we have to understand that not everything that began a particular way will keep that meaning.
Right, fair enough. You're taken. Winnie, your time.
Okay,
Back to you, Winnie.
I'll comment on what you just said. Language changes over time. Words assume new meaning, sometimes extended meaning, and anytime you come up with anything new, it has to have a name. So, I with that context is quite all right. Now, the issue I have as the only woman on this panel, I will never ever be satisfied or comfortable with the reference to what women use to keep themselves clean during menstruation or after giving birth. I don't care how that has changed. I don't care what that is about. I will never endorse that. Go find something else. Woman interfere with you. Man interfere
Michael,
with
you're
you.
laughing.
You
Michael,
talk
you're
about
laughing. I'm just gonna...
son of a bitch. Is a woman you curse, son of a bitch. Stop it. I am not comfortable with that. So don't bother. Find some other cloth to use. Don't use those. That's what
Okay.
I have to
Not,
say
not the one
on
with
that.
blood.
And
Michael,
I'll
I saw
never
you
be
laughing, but
comfortable with that.
before you come in, Michael, and respond to that specifically, I want to read one from Sue Taylor, Sue, Jamaica. I missed that. Jamaica bad words are cultural and do not have any
Any
meaning outside
context
of
outside of
Jamaica.
Jamaica. I saw that.
Outside of Jamaica. But I hear them being used elsewhere. Michael,
The
but make a
Jamaicans
quick
now,
response.
the Jamaicans go outside of Jamaica and they use it. So there are many people who understand it
Yeah,
outside of
our
Jamaica.
words
Michael, make
now.
a quick reference and so we can move on. A quick reference, because I got to read some of the comments.
All right. There's a video circulating of Jamie Foxx being in Jamaica and a meal being prepared for him by a Jamaican celebrity chef. And Jamie Foxx knows the word bumbo, but he doesn't know the context of it. So he just knows that Jamaicans use it. If you go on TikTok, you will see a lot of videos using Jamaican words. But the people who use them associate them with Jamaicans, but they don't really know exactly what it means, you know. They just know that it is
Yes.
Jamaican. And that is
Yes.
their way of telling us that they know something about Jamaica. They want to be a part of Jamaica.
Yes.
They want you to know that
Yes.
they love your
I have had
country.
Yes, I have had that experience entering a store in Miami, and somebody greeted me with a long list of those. And I said, "Excuse me, what's that
You're
about?"
welcome.
Said,
You're welcome.
"Yeah,
But
yeah,
let me go to,
Jamaican man.
let me just take,
Yeah,
let me just
yeah,
take two
Jamaican
comments
man."
quickly.
And I used the opportunity to educate him that is not all Jamaicans talk like that. So,
Let me just take some
no,
comments quickly, Winnie, and then
go ahead,
Desmond wants to comment. So let me take some
go
comments
ahead.
quickly. Owen Richards saying, are people still being arrested for the use of certain words in Jamaica? And I'm going to come to Michael to deal with that. And then Carlin Smith says, the Jamaican language situation is complex. Even these same curse words are used in celebratory ways. Context and the stressing up of or lack thereof suggests the meaning, context,
True.
and the stresses, where the stresses are. But Michael, you want to respond to the question about
Yes,
are people still being
you can
arrested?
still be arrested
Yes.
in Jamaica for use of what is considered to be loud and calumnious language.
All right, now let me ask you this. Don't go too far. I want to ask you right now because we are on here. Somebody just sent me this question. Can the police arrest any of you guys for the use of curse words by Michael on this program? Michael, for the police,
I will answer you this way.
given the law, whatever is going to happen afterwards, would a policeman be rightly directed if he was sent to arrest you now for the use?
He would have a hard time proving his case because I am not in the public square, and it is the Town and Communities Act
But
that
this
is
the public
used
square.
often. Huh?
But this is the public square.
It is the public square, but I am not in the public
Not
square.
square. No, not square. It's public space, but not public square, I
Public
would
square.
say.
You see, the law is not an us. That is why they could lock up Bounty Killer, Beanie Man, and the rest of them for using certain language on stage. But
Yeah.
it's what we used to call a 2 shilling word back in the day, when we used to use
Then
pound,
turn
shilling, and
40.
pence.
Turn 40.
And then it became yeah. But I grew up hearing my mother, a blessed memory, saying, "Don't let me tell you some 2 shilling words, you know." And we knew exactly what she meant when she was saying that to somebody.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, without having respond to Carlene too much, she said in an earlier comment that the Bible was written, it was a perfect book written by imperfect men. I will rubbish that argument right away. If it's written by imperfect men, then it's imperfect. Let's continue.
Let's not go down that road there yet.
Yes.
Desmond, you want to come in, and before Desmond comes in, Jeffrey Worrell is saying the police themselves use these curse words. Desmond,
I'm glad you said that.
We know
Because
that.
it's true. Police use it every day.
We know that. And they tell
On
you
camera.
when they use it.
Sorry, Desmond, want Desmond to come in because
Yes.
he's muted. Desmond, you're muted. Desmond, you're muted. We're not hearing you. Desmond,
Turn
you're
on
muted.
it. Turn on it. Mike.
Right, we can hear you
With us
now.
Go ahead, Desmond.
I want to remind the panelists and listeners and viewers that in St. Thomas some years ago, a woman lost her life. She was shot
Yes.
by the police
Yes.
after she was accosted for using an indecent language. And this was a pregnant woman. And after she was accosted by the police, subsequently she was shot because of some other things happened, right? So my point is that it's time for us to get rid of these little colonial legacies from off our backs. We must be free to use any word that we want to use and deal with the issues. Look how many people in Jamaica don't have water this evening.
Desmond, I can't
Yes.
bring it on to brass tacks. All right, you feel this way. You feel this way now. Would you go into court and use one to a judge?
Of course I would use it.
Personalizing it. I don't like personalizing
Desmond,
it.
you would be charged for contempt immediately and sent to be in the holding area.
Okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, lawyer Williams, Carlin Smith said, well said. No, that wasn't Carlin. Kurt Buchanan says, very well answered, lawyer. And Owen Richards says, you as an important person can make
Imperfect.
a perfect
Imperfect.
and imperfect statement. All right. So
Imperfect,
Winnie,
yes.
Winnie, we are.
Let me go back. Let me go back to something that Michael, he made reference to a book. I can say that a number of literature books are laced with these curse words. Roger Mays' trilogy has a number of them. The Hills Were Joyful Together, the entire. So
what about Wife of Bath?
Oh, a number of literature books. We can have
I'm talking
a long
about English
list.
literature. Laced with it. And it's read at A level.
A number of remember now that it's not only English. Generally, that is why I don't like the way the law is framed. Because maybe they didn't know, that's why. But now that we know, I am not happy with the way it is. But as I said, and I am not going to change that, any reference to women like that, a man interferes with your son of a bitch. Anytime I hear them talking about blouse and skirt, I say pants and shirt. Leave my clothes alone.
No, sometimes we say blouse and skirt, pants and shirt. follows
No,
immediately after.
I don't hear the pan. Leave my clothes. Talk about yours alone. Leave my clothes out of this thing. Leave my clothes out. Just talk pants and shirt. And when
All
somebody
right.
trouble you, don't call
In
his mother a
Russia,
bitch. Curse the man himself.
in Russia, if somebody tells me that I have on a shirt and they use the name for the female genitalia in it, it means that it is an excellent, good shirt.
Yeah,
And if
we're
they
going to different cultures now.
and if they say it's uyove, which means description of the male penis, it means it's a bad shirt.
Okay. Okay.
So cultures are a little different.
Yeah, not a little, a lot different. Cultures
Yes.
are different, even within the Caribbean. What counts as, if we look at doo-doo, if someone says to you doo-doo darling, are you happy with that? No, because of what we refer to as doo-doo. So so even within the Caribbean, it's not the same in
Well,
every
the word
country.
bulla in the
Uh,
Eastern Caribbean means something different. It's something we eat.
Well,
But if you
there are
call
lots of different words. But let me
um
yes,
let me just make reference to some of our viewers because I don't want to leave them out. And then
yes.
I want to ask Desmond a specific question. But Everton Wallace says, Jackass to the world level. No word is bad. Think about it. Frankly, you need to
So we
shut down
started.
this live and stop being illiterate.
That's why we
Charlie Smith
started.
says, true, we
Hmm.
have poetic license to read the curse words in these books, and that was reference to an earlier piece of discussion. But this one of the
That's
things that
not
has
what poetic
one of the
license
things
is
that has
about, but I
drawn
won't go there.
anger. One of the things that has drawn anger. I don't see Desmond at the moment, so Michael, you can take it on.
yes.
In public here is where men, and it's intended as a curse word, will tell other men something. How would Winnie respond to that? And would you
I didn't
suggest
hear
that
what you
as
said, Franklin. You froze.
A part of it went, yes.
oh, yes, men especially
Hmm.
will tell other men and the curse
Hmm.
word way about, I will tell you something about your mother,
Right.
Oh,
and men take that with violence. Now, how do you deal with that in the context of whatever the sociological underpinnings of that? How do you deal with that in your circumstances of free speech, of words having meanings and times change? You may address that.
me?
Yes.
All right. And a man look at me and says, suck your mother. I said, I
Yeah.
did. You didn't. You were untimely strangled from the womb. So there was no breast milk for you to feed. That's my typical response. I find it hilarious when somebody tells me that I'm not offended by it anymore when I
No,
was
nor
younger.
am
Yes.
I, but a large swathe of Jamaican population, large segment
Yes.
of men are.
Yes, they are because you're telling them about their mother, the
Yes.
woman
Yes.
who gave them
The
life.
woman again.
So
Hmm.
don't, so let's not pretend that curse words can generate, regardless of how we feel about
Oh,
them,
no, I would never pretend.
tremendous emotion.
That is
Yes,
why they're called those names.
when
Bad
somebody tell
words.
me
Yes.
about my mother, it no longer have any effect because in Jamaica we say, well, common assault. It's something where people do and say everywhere. You're driving on the road and a man bad driver and a taxi man roll on him and say, "Suck your mother." And I find it quite hilarious a lot of the times, more than offended, that he spent the time to put down his window to
Yes.
tell me something.
Because he wants that expression. He wants to get it off. He wants it out
Yeah,
there.
but when I wind up my window, it's to say, you piece of shit, you.
Okay, there you go with the excrement. when,
And
when,
they
yes,
are often offended when I say that
yes,
because I'm
excrement.
addressing them personally as excrement.
Yes.
So I don't get
That,
offended about my mother
yes.
anymore.
Well,
Used to.
I
Used to.
understand when you say anymore. That's why I started right where I started for those
Don't know.
who were not here. Contextualize it. The whole thing of no word is bad. Nothing goes like that. In every society, if you look in the dictionaries,
You
that
don't
that
accept
case
that no word is bad, Winnie. Sorry, Winnie, you don't accept
that
that no
cannot
word is bad.
be. That cannot
Okay.
be. And that is why the lexicographers, those who compile the dictionaries, remember that they don't prescribe how the words are used. They observe how words are used, and on the basis of that, they compile dictionaries. And they have notes there. You have coarse, vulgar slang. They tell you what these are and how they're used in the society, not only whether they're verb, pronoun, or what. They have to tell you how they are used, and they tell you if you want to be vulgar, do this one. If you want to be coarse, use this one, because that's what they observe of how these are used in the society.
Well, let's take words like whore. Let's use that one. There are several other words in the English lexicon for the word whore. You can say prostitute, but you can
Yeah.
also say coquette. You when you say coquette, it exudes somebody of a higher class, or you can use terms like lady of the night. There are several,
Yes.
so I don't
Euphemisms.
accept.
That
Yes,
euphemisms.
I don't accept for one moment that context does not matter. I think context matters. Just like when
Every
Desmond
time.
said he would go to court and use a particular word. I wouldn't dare Desmond to do it because I know what the result would be. The result is that he would spend at least
At least one
a
night.
night in the lockup. So context matters at all times. But when me and
Every
my friend
time.
them, I don't play games. What if me and my friends them should be playing domino and a man bowing him hand, look at him and say, "Take that to us." That is
Okay.
exuberance.
Let's
That
go
is
to that other one again.
yeah.
Do the word
And
YOUR, yes?
yeah,
YOUR space ASS or
yes.
ARSE and run them together. That's what you are doing. But people have been doing that over time. So you go right back to the same kind of thing.
But nobody is offended in a domino game like that.
No, because
Because everybody
again,
drinking rum, smoking whatever they smoke, and they playing dominoes.
But
It's a
but let
friendly
me
and
game.
disagree
I
with
would
you.
not be
Michael, let me
there.
disagree with you. Let me
Yes.
disagree
I
with you
would
and put
not be
another spin
there.
to it. If those guys who are playing are there around an elder lady or an elderly lady or elderly woman, and one of them brought up in a particular way might turn to her and still say sorry, even if he was the one
Yes,
who
Yes.
used it in a
Yes. Yes.
non-sexual
that's
way.
True.
exactly
Wait,
where I
I said
was
True.
going
sorry,
with
ma'am.
that.
Sorry,
That's
sorry,
True.
ma'am.
exactly
Why
where I
does
was
he
True.
do
going
that,
with that.
Michael? Why does he
Accepted.
do that?
Not just
Because
age. Yes.
inherently in the mind he was brought up to know that it is profane language and it should
Right.
not be used
Right.
around your
Right.
elders or
Or
people you
anyone,
respect
thank you.
or people who
Anyone
are
to
not your close friends.
anyone to whom you wish to
I
show
often
respect.
used to say when I was a policeman that anybody I use bad word to is a friend.
He's
And
a
I'm
friend.
sorry, Desmond
Well,
is not here because I wanted to ask him if he has ever arrested anyone when he was a cop for the use of loud and calumnious or profane language.
Yeah, well,
that
he's gone. As you said, he's gone. He said he had to go.
that is
I will understand that.
that
Buchanan
is
is asking,
general.
how about telling them to do the same thing about themselves? That's supposed the mother one. But go ahead, Winnie.
Oh
Yes.
boy.
Go ahead.
I I was
And another
saying that
editorial. We still hope. We're still trying to get. Let's know.
Mr.
Phillips,
Phillips.
not listening.
Yes.
Go ahead, Robin.
As okay. As I was saying earlier, every country has its own rules when it comes to these things. Some are written, some are unwritten. And the wonderful United States that many people say, oh, you're free to do whatever you want. Oh, no, it's not anywhere and everywhere. I have done courses there, and the rule is none of these words should be used within the room. Nobody should go up there. And if somebody does it, I'm just expressing myself, that person is called out. I went into a store. I brought back something. In Florida, I went into this store, and the store owner had to call someone else, and apparently he was not happy with what the man was telling him, and he used a number of the F words, and he went on and on. And as soon as he hung the phone, he looked at me and he said, "Oh, I am sorry, ma'am. This man caused me to use some unprofessional words. I'm not always like that." It's the first time seeing this man, but he knew that it was offensive. Not because there's freedom of expression. It doesn't mean that everybody on the street or everybody where you meet, they just freely tell you about.
Let me go a little further. Let me go a little further in addition to that. Now, the second, the right to bear arms and ammunition is taken as an absolute right in certain states. In North Carolina, for example, you no longer need a permit for open carry. You only need a permit for concealed carry. However, there are places, private properties, open to the public, where it is posted outside on the door that you cannot do open carry on these premises.
Yes.
And if you breach that rule, somebody, security guard, some store owner is going to tell you, "Sorry, sir, but we don't permit open carry on these premises." And if you are concealed and they realize that you have it, they will tell you the same thing. They'll tell you that no firearms are allowed on these premises. Now, this is a constitutional right guaranteed to you that when you're in the public space, but when you step onto private property, your right to bear arms is different. You can't just walk into the people place like that. So everything of context, that's how I started off with Franklin earlier. Everything has context, but I don't believe that in the 21st century, we should be slaying women for using 2-shilling words in the public square, particularly when those making the arrest use them themselves. When I served as a policeman, I didn't use them to members of the public where I served. And I've arrested people for using it to me.
What happened to those? It might be taking you back quite a few years, but what happened in those cases?
In those cases,
was the prosecution successful?
All the time. All the time. I've never prosecuted anyone when I was in the Cayman Islands who was not convicted. If I believe that my case is not strong, I ask my sergeant to section 34 you, which is to let you go without further action. If I take you to court, I have the evidence and you're going to be convicted. 502 convictions in 10 years.
Okay.
Never missed one.
So you lock up people for expressing themselves?
Yeah.
Of course, you can't. You're not free to say whatever you want.
Confess yet?
Have
you gone to confess yet?
No, because I did not sin. You see, the reason for doing it is that if I come on a scene and it's heated already, and I separate two persons, and one person start to use language to the other person, that get the person riled up again. Get the person, you're breaching the peace because I have calmed you down.
Yes.
And so if you just tell me outside on the road, not a problem. But in the context of a heated exchange, where you said to me, "Officer, your mama so and so and so," because they use our bad words in Cayman. Cayman was once almost like a colony of Jamaica. They use our bad words and they know exactly what it means. And you tell me personally while me I try to do my job. In that context, you're nicked, as the Englishman would say. You're nicked. You're in cuffs and you're going down. I don't care if you said the other man did hit you before me come. I'm not concerned about that. You going to court for that petty offense.
All right. So when you let's get you going to near the end of that this segment. Desmond was supposed to present, but I'm going to mention Everton Wallace, who says
Yes.
that discussion is insipid. Do better. Hurt Buchanan says, "Oh boy, Collins said, what time is Mr. Phillips scheduled? He was scheduled at the start of the program, but he did explain to us that the 4 o'clock hour was very difficult to Smith, and he's going to be on a platform somewhere, and he's not going to didn't think he was going to be able to step off the platform. So we have been trying him. Joshua has been trying, and he's been telling us he's not here. So Winnie, go ahead.
Yes, what I'm saying is this. I know that many Jamaicans are extremely comfortable with using these words. So I cannot tell you what to do and what not to do. But what the children, when I have, and I've worked at all levels of the education system. So the little ones, when one comes and say, "Oh, so and so cuss bad out," what do I say? I call the other one and I say, the one who used the word. I say, "Who did you hear using that?" Sometimes it's mother, sometimes it is father, sometimes it is people pass on the road and they hear it. So I understand that this is a part of the culture, but it does not mean that this is something that we should continue. And women should not be comfortable with the words that are used to demean and degrade them. Women should not be comfortable with that. It's time men go find new words, and the women who are using them, I say, stop it. Go create new words. I bet none of the men who are talking that would use tampon, or they would say sanitary pad, or just use different brands of it. They would not use that. So stop it. That is what I have to say when it comes to that. Stop. Find new words. Go make new ones.
One minister
Okay.
once looked at a member, a citizen at a town hall, and asked him if it's his time of the month. I know Franklin will remember that one.
I remember that it was in Parliament.
Bobby Pickers again.
Out of
Parliament.
order, disrespectful of women. That is why we need women in Parliament.
Okay.
I don't know that women in Parliament is going to change the status quo, though.
Because some of
Let me
them, we
just ask
need
you
more
both.
women.
How would you both respond to children? I know the direction of the discussion is suggesting that this should be removed from the law book. But how would you respond with regard to children using these words at school? And what should be the response of the principals, the administration, and the teachers? How do you respond?
That's
in
a
the present
googly.
circumstance?
That's a fast bowler with a bouncer, several bouncers, Franklin.
Yes, sir.
I don't use that at home to children. I have cursed at the boys at home once. Well, one of them. Once. That was last week. We were coming out of Sam's and him used the supermarket trolley to hit, and it was a hard blow. And it was just maybe child's play, but it was hard enough, and I turned around and the word just whoop.
Habit.
It was, what the F you doing?
Habit.
What would you say in the school yard, in the classroom?
If I don't teach you to use that at home, I don't expect you to take it to the public. But I know that I am not the only socializing agent for my children. I do not support children telling each other bad words or using those words in the presence of adults. Using it among your peers is bad enough, but using it in the presence of adults, if I saw my child doing that, that child would be punished. I have never seen it. But if I should have seen it back in the day, I would have punished that child.
Winnie, where you take off on
Okay,
this?
this is where what I do for the little ones, because they hear it. I tell them what happens at school. We don't do that at school. This is not what we do. You don't hear your teacher cursing. You don't hear anybody here. It is not allowed on this compound. That's what I do for the little ones. For the older ones, I remind them that it is against the law. So they are not supposed to do that. For the older ones at all levels, from high school up, I say, you know that you are breaking the law when you do this.
But what
You're
about a
not
principal
supposed to
who,
do
what
that.
about a principal who suspends a boy because of the use of that in the classroom or out on the play field?
Just the use of the word, frankly, nothing else. Without more.
Using the words.
Without more.
It depends. It depends. It could be that he used it to the coach. He was told to stop. I don't know the context because
Exactly.
I don't think because I'll share this with you quickly. I went to a school. I was waiting for school to begin to visit a class, and a boy used one of those words, and somebody said to him, "You know, see the lady." And he turned around and he said, "Sorry, miss, I didn't see you." And before I could say anything, a girl just stood in front of him and said, "Him never cuss no bad word." So I was shocked, but I won't go into that story. But because he apologized, I had nothing more to say to him because he knew he was wrong and he was not telling me the bad word. He just knew. He did not see me, but because of his bad habit, that is why he did it. So the only thing I would tell him to do is not to practice doing that
I think
because
a
I know he
Michael,
will
suspension.
see me.
final word. I think Canon raising some issues about the US. Can be challenged, but your final word, Michael, on this. I'll move on to it.
My final word on this topic is that context at all times matters. If I am in certain groups, I would not use that language. If I'm before the court, I wouldn't use that certain language. If I'm before the court, certainly not. I'm an officer of the court. I wouldn't and could not use that kind of language unless I am putting a question to a witness about a statement that that person made. And I'm using the context matters. I don't believe we should criminalize those words, though. I do not think that a mother, because that's a mischief, that because the police have the power to prosecute you for these 2 shilling words, that they often use it to breach your rights, to harass you, to really just denigrate you and ignore your humanity. So to that extent, I believe the mischief rule in interpretation of the law needs to come in, and the mischief is really that people are being penalized for just expressing themselves, even sometimes when it's not loud or calumnious.
All right, beautiful. Thank you. I just want to mention before I'm going to ask you guys to make a comment on the school bus service. Michael, you weren't here last week.
My comments on
Hold
that.
on a second. Let me just read the last comment by Colin. One of the last comments here. At the high school levels, they are penalized. Detention or a suspension is commonly done when it is not used to their peers.
The peers.
Okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yes, I cannot see how a government, no matter how well intentioned, could spend $1.4 billion on the acquisition of 110 school buses that cannot fetch more than 7,500 each because they are 18 to 20 years old. They can't. What people don't know is that in the United States,
we're told 10 to 15, Michael, and there's still some There's some questions about the age of the buses, but you go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, what I read is that the buses, and I can stand corrected if it's not so, that the buses are between 18 and 20 years old. And people don't know that here, when the DMV gives you a book value of a motor vehicle, you know, that is how you pay the tariffs on the car. No bus, school bus or otherwise, throughout the 52 states, would sell for $89,000. So if the buses are in fact 18 to 20 years old, and we have procured 110 of them for $1.4 billion, we have overpaid, because if you do that at 160, I'm not bright with maths, so you know that I did the maths already. I divided $1.4 billion by 110, and then I divided the amount I got by $160, and each bus would come up to over 12 million Jamaican, or 89,000 United States dollars. When I hear see those figures, because maths don't lie, it suggests that somebody is unjustly enriched. There is no transparency, nothing that you could open if the buses are 18 to 20 years. On the other hand, we are procuring buses from a jurisdiction where they use left-hand drive. Now it means that the children enter.
No, but those are going to be. You have to speak for Mr. Vaz at this point. What he said.
I'm coming to that.
I'm coming to that. They're going to be retrofitted.
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
I'm coming to that. So you buy buses 18 to 20 years old at the grand price of 89,000 United States dollars, 18 to 20-year-old buses, and then because they open on the wrong side for our traffic regulations, you're going to retrofit them. At what price? How much are we going to cut out?
We don't know. We don't know what that cost is, because I did ask.
That cost could cost the cost of the old bus to retrofit. Remember, you know that the engine is fixed a particular way. What people don't realize is that when you drive a left-hand drive vehicle, certain things in it are fixed a particular way to accommodate that. Even the automatic system of opening the doors and closing them. So this is electioneering at its most vulgar. It's electioneering at its most corrupt. I have no problem with rural buses, because the rural communities need buses.
I've to tie off because the time is against us.
All right. I have no problem with rural buses. It's a noble intention, but it's been done very wrongly, and it's electioneering.
Okay. Thanks, Michael. I've got to say to viewers and listeners, and there are questions here being asked about, didn't the minister speak about the costs, dispute those facts? Others have pointed out that Mr. Phillips should be here because he was told, he knew that he should have been here, and all of that. And all I can say is that we are going to even still make it possible for Mr. Phillips to have his say next week. Whatever way we're going to get that done, but we're going to still make it possible. I want to thank you all for being with us in this discussion program. Remember, you can watch this recorded program on the Frankly Speaking Jamaica YouTube channel. Thanks particularly to Michael, who arrested people for their free speech issues. Micheal Williams, attorney. Thanks very much to Winnie Anderson Brown, who took us through this matter and has expressed very strongly how she feels with regard to the fact that so many of them target women. Thanks to Desmond Richards, who had to leave us early. And special thanks also to Joshua Black of Joshua Black Media Services for technical support. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. I'm Franklin McKnight. Until then.
Now call Frankly.
My brother. Thank you, man. Yes, I see. I say